Welcome back to Atlanta and Company, everybody. I'm Christine Pilara. Quizzes World is a unique online study site designed for students of all ages and grade levels, parents, teachers, and tutors. Created to alleviate test-taking anxiety and build confidence, Quizzes World provides a way for custom quizzes to be crafted from current public, private, or even homeschool classroom study materials. And we'd like to welcome back Julie Wilson, who is the founder of Quizzes World.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And we were talking right before, or during the break, that you had a great response last time. And for those people that did not see you on the show, tell us all about the concept of Quizzes World.
Well, you did a fine job of giving us a great intro on that, but I want to emphasize that it was designed to develop the students' critical thinking skills, teaching them not just what to study, but actually how to study. Using their current classroom study materials, they create quizzes which are then stored in the site, and every time they're taken, they're randomized, both the questions and answers, and then it's scored for immediate feedback, stored in an overall performance results chart so they can track their results.
Wow.
And we just added a new feature where you can click on a button and make flashcards from those quizzes as well. We've got some other cool features that we'll talk about later, but that's pretty much the overall concept.
That's fantastic. And do you have any education in your background at all?
Oh, yes. I have a Bachelor of Arts degree from the Social Sciences at Michigan State University, go Spartans. And about 22 years ago, I'm dating myself, I moved to Atlanta and started in focus group market research. And I think it was in probably market research that you creatively learn to look for solutions. And about 10 years ago, I retired from that career and took on the most important career, being a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
As the kids got older, the homework got a lot deeper and a lot more stressful. And I think it was just a natural for me to look for a solution. And it was about when my son Jake was going into 6th grade that I realized that, and this is embarrassing, I was doing a lot of work for my kids.
Right.
It was stressful in the household. It wasn't always positive. The time constraints that we're always under, it was a lot quicker for me to do the work for them. And I'm not saying that I was doing their actual homework, but I was doing all the test prep.
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting there in front of the computer one day and I realized my kids don't know how to study. And I think that's a question we need to ask ourselves today. Do our kids really know how to study? What's going to get them through high school and into college? So there's at the computer, perfect technology. That's where the kids love to be. And with a lot of design time, a lot of program dollars and hours, and a whole lot of support from my family, we funded and launched QW.
That's amazing. And when I asked you the question about education, I didn't mean did you have a degree. Oh, yeah. I meant were you a teacher? I didn't want you to think
No.
Do you have a degree? No, you don't have. You're not a teacher. You came up with this in order to help your children and help children everywhere. You know, fight this anxiety that they're dealing with. I think that's so admirable.
Well, I think being a mom, we talked about this before, that just being a mom and that homework load, any mom knows, just doesn't stop.
Well, I have a 10-year-old niece who is very active in gymnastics, so she goes 3 days a week. And I just talked to her the other day. She sounds stressed. She's 10. You know, just with that, how much homework she has at that age. So this is designed to help them stay organized and all that.
You just hit the key word, routine and organization. If they can build this in, Quizzes World, into their daily routine, and we're not expecting miracles here, but if you think about what's coming home, I read this on Facebook all the time when I hear moms saying, 5 more math worksheets, more spelling words, more vocabulary, read this chapter. Plus they got to get to dance, they've got to get to their acting class, they've got to get to the golf course, wherever it is that they're going. And what happens is, if you don't take that and organize it and set up a routine, if you think about it, you take that stuff and while you're actually answering the questions, enter a quiz, make a vocabulary matching quiz, enter the math facts in. While the kids are doing this, they're actually learning while they're entering. They're studying while they're entering the information. And what's even cooler is if a parent is entering the information, they're learning what their kids are studying, opens up the lines of communication, makes it more of a positive atmosphere. The more exposure these kids have to the material, the more they're going to learn it versus merely memorize it, which is what I think I did.
Yeah, I think I might have too.
That goes right back into the building self-confidence and relieving the test anxiety.
So you are really seeing parents and students integrating this program into their daily lives with great results.
With great results. Especially the homeschool market, but I mean everybody, and if we can ever get into that teacher market and break into that, which is
well, talk about the homeschooling, because that seems to have been increasing, you know, in the last few years. So how can they take advantage too?
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of credence to those guys, because they have the hours they put in and the patience level that they have. I'm obviously not a homeschooler.
I was just going to say patience, to have the patience to deal with that.
But you know, I went to the Southeast Homeschool Expo. And as I spoke with parents, what I found out is that they have a manually intensive job. They've taken on the job of being a teacher for every subject.
Right.
So if you think about it, they have a whole lot to do. And our site's perfect for that. The fact that it can store the quizzes for them, score and put them into results charts to watch how their kids are doing.
Right.
The buddy sharing feature, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but it's ideal because I can selectively send whoever I want the quizzes that I've made. So homeschool parents with other homeschool parents or groups, an ultimate quiz where you combine quizzes together and you can actually study for a cumulative test, midterms, finals. You know, the homeschoolers are also on the road a lot. They like to go out and do hands-on training, and since we're online, it's just perfect. So, you know, QW homeschooling, it's a no-brainer.
Well, what are some of the tools for people who are brand new? How can they get started? Is it a pretty simple process?
Even creating one quiz question can be pretty daunting, and we know that. We know that there's a hurdle there. So Wilson the Whiz Kid tutorial was designed specifically to handle this. Organizing your study materials is probably the very first step, and he takes you through that process. Then he takes everything in the classroom that you use, your vocabulary, your spelling, charts, and he takes it and actually makes it fun for the kids to learn how to create actual quiz questions from that material. Jenna Bug has been there from day one. She's the little K through 2nd grade, and she has a section that is solely for that age group to learn and promote them getting a jump start.
Right.
That age group is a sponge.
Right.
They are so excited about doing whatever, and they're not negative about homework. So if we can get them engaged early, it's really awesome. And then our 3rd through 8th graders, we didn't want to leave them out, so we developed a section called Sample Starters. These are short little quizzes just uploaded last week out of the demand from kids saying, help us out. 4 different subjects: language, arts, math, social studies, and science. And within those categories, we developed 4 questions of our 4 formats on the site. So they're samples for them. They can go and use them as a guide.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, for people watching, they're thinking there are a lot of online educational tools out there. What makes Quizzy's World different?
Well, it's obvious, the critical thinking skills. We intentionally designed it without a data bank of information, so there's nothing there. So there's no content, and there are a lot of, the sites out there are filled with content.
Right.
Of course, what I just mentioned, the buddy sharing, makes us very unique because when you share those quizzes, it's a touch of a button, and it saves time. If you create math and I create Spanish and we swap,
right.
Whether it's teachers with teachers or parents with parents or students with students, it's a huge time saver. The ultimate quiz. And our everlasting feature is actually our storage capacity, because you store these quizzes, can pass them down to siblings, teachers can use them the following year. But you know, I was thinking the other day that we not only are different, but these content sites, we need content to be able to create quizzes. So we actually work in tandem with them,
right.
And it's actually a complement to other sites. So it's not like we're so different, it's just that we're special that we don't have that content. So use the content to make the quiz.
Wow. And real quick, let's talk about the teachers, because we don't want to leave that out. The element of, you know, being able to help them be armed with these tools to help the students.
Well, I like the help them, because when I originally designed it, it was set up for us to do this at home. And it was for use at home. But if you think about it, who spends more waking hours with our kids?
Right.
The teachers.
The teachers.
And if we could give back to them some type of tool, this same tool that they could use, the storage capacity, the buddy share, everything else, all the other items in the site. So what we designed was what's called the QW School Campaign. And the parents are actually giving back to the school. The parents pay a membership fee of $40. The school gets a almost 50% back as a business partner, so they're raising funds for the school. And with that, the teachers get the site for free for a lifetime.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's a really cool setup that we have. And we actually are already in Forsyth County. We have Settlesbridge Elementary kicking off tomorrow. We've already been with South Forsyth Middle School. And I want to give some kudos to Texas. We're national. And in Texas, we have, I believe, 7 schools on now. But McNeil Elementary has Ken Davis, who was named, this is tough, Texas 2009 Nationally Distinguished Elementary Principal of the Year.
Wow.
So congratulations to Ken, because that's pretty cool. And the fact that he's embraced QW has us very excited.
Well, if someone wants to sign on right now, how do they go about it? And are there any special offers you have for Atlanta Company viewers?
Absolutely. Okay. If you go to www.quizzysworld.com, QW, between now and October 15th, we're going to give a 20% discount. So it's only going to be $4 a month. And it's ATLCOMP and the number 1. But you first get a 30-day free trial. So when you go to 30-day free trial, fill in that affiliate code. You'll get the 20% discount until October 15th. And, of course, we welcome principals to reach out to us, too. If they're interested in the school campaign, they can reach me at julie@quizzysworld.com. And
Julie, thank you so much for being here. It's always great to have you, and especially this week where it's everything moms and dads need to know week. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you.
Right.
Quizzy's World is, again, a one-of-a-kind online study site developed with a different concept in mind, having students learn how to study, preparing them for their years ahead of successful test taking. There's the number, 678-793-3766, or visit Quizzy'sWorld.com.